Hey guys, here I am on the college campus of Stanford. That's fun, different location. I've been dying to talk about this all weekend long and finally got a chance now. Donald Trump was in favor of intervention in Venezuela. I totally disagree with that. I think it's a terrible idea, supporting Guaido's coup in my attempt. Russia obviously is on the other side. So a lot of the people who don't believe in so-called Russiagate said, hey, Cenk, now to be fair, Trump is opposing what Russia's doing in Venezuela, and that's one piece of evidence that he's not controlled by the Russians. And you know what I said about that? That's fair. That is fair. That's evidence, and that's interesting. And so that's the counterpoint. And so about a month before the Mueller report came out, I talked to Aaron Mate about this. And then after the Barr summary of the Mueller report came out, I talked to Glenn Greenwald, Michael Tracy, etc. Long discussions and a little bit of debate in there. And one of the points I made that they object to most is that Trump is a puppet of Putin. And the point that I made in those debates / discussions were, no, he's so incredibly stupid. And I know people have a hard time wrapping their mind around this because they probably in their real lives don't know anyone this dumb, that he doesn't know what Russian interests are. And so every once in a while, he'll talk to Putin, and Putin will tell him, hey, dummy, this is our interest, so you go do this. And I remember them finding, we agreed on many other things, but I remember them finding that to be outlandish. And get a load of what just happened. So Trump talks to Putin, comes out after the conversation and goes, oh, Russia has nothing but great positive intentions in Venezuela. They're not looking to interfere at all, which is exact opposite of what his government was saying before. Pompeo said that the Russians were so involved that Maduro was going to get on a plane to flee to Cuba, and the Russians gave him orders not to, and then he listened to them. Trump comes out, complete contradiction of his Secretary of State, and says, no, the Russians don't want to interfere with Venezuela at all. Putin just told me. And he says nothing but positive intentions towards Venezuela. Direct contradiction of his own policy. Now, let me be clear, okay? Do I want us to intervene in Venezuela? Hell no, I don't. If he's taking orders from Putin on this, and he actually, that leads him to pull out, that would be amazing and fantastic policy-wise. But do I want our president controlled by another government? Hell no. Hell no. You can believe both those things at the same time. Am I one of those people in the mainstream media who genuinely go, oh, I can't believe the Russians would want to interfere in Venezuela while we're in the middle of threatening a coup and helping to orchestrate one? No, I am not one of those people. It is horribly hypocritical by the American government to complain about anything that Russia is doing in Venezuela when we are doing likewise and worse. And our national security advisor went on television, John Bolton did, and said, yes, we are looking out for American business interests in Venezuela. That is why we're doing this. In fact, we're looking out for American oil companies. He brazenly admitted that on national TV. So America's not pure here. They're not innocent. I don't want to intervene in Venezuela. All those things being said, is Trump taking orders from Putin? You just saw it with your own eyes. He gets a call and then immediately turns around and says the exact opposite of what he was saying before the call. So here's how Trump operates. This is what I told you before, and I got to tell you right now, told you. He doesn't know or care about any policies, almost any policies. So his staff runs all of the policies. And so they're like, oh, okay, Venezuela, here, dummy, here's what you have to know about Venezuela. There's a lot of oil there, okay? And we're going to go, I'm sure they probably tried this. They used to work with Bush a little bit, right? Oh, I can't believe what Maduro's doing to his people. But Trump doesn't care about that at all. He's like, his people are Latino, right? What do I care? They're like, hey, okay, fine, there's a lot of oil. He's like, okay, what do you need me to do? Just keep it simple for the dummy. So he goes, okay, well, all right, then we should, help Guaido and do what we got to do to get Maduro out. And they tell him, oh, Maduro's a commie like Bernie Sanders. He's like, oh, I don't like that. Oh, no, okay, we're going to do something, right? And then he gets a call from Putin going, hey, dummy, I'm on the other side of that. So straighten up and tell people I'm not interfering and tell people that I have positive intentions. Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. Which American president, even if they had the opposite agenda of Trump in Venezuela, would talk to Putin and then come out and say, when he's on the opposite side of us, oh, no, We're wrong. We're wrong. I'm wrong. My Secretary of State wrong. My whole thing is wrong. Putin's right. He's super positive about Venezuela, and he has great intentions. It's embarrassing, man. It's absolutely embarrassing. Now, if you're in the camp, whether you're right wing or consider yourself left wing, and you say, aha, Cenk, he spent money to Ukraine for military purposes, and he has the opposite intentions of Russia and Venezuela. Those are fine points. You see, I'm a rational person. I actually care about facts. I say that's true, right? Now, when I turn around and say it does appear that he got a phone call from Putin and then contradicted his own policy, you have to then, if you're a reasonable person, go, well, okay, good counterpoint. It doesn't mean it's dispositive. It doesn't mean I necessarily changed my mind about this, but I hear you, and that is a good piece of evidence on the other side. Has that happened? No. Everybody has their own side. So the mainstream media says Maduro's a bad guy, human rights violations, America is within its rights to declare Guaido the actual president and freeze their funds and keep military options on the table, and the Russians are the bad guys and we're the good guys. We would never interfere in anyone's private interests like the bad commies Russians do, but meanwhile we're threatening a coup against Venezuela. I'm not in that camp. Then you got the other side who says, no, I will never acknowledge any good points on the other side. So even though it looks like Trump took a call from Putin and then came out and contradicted his own government and said how great Putin and Russia is, again, for the 28th time in a row, I don't acknowledge, I don't see it. And this is exactly why I'm bothered by that side. If you didn't know, now you know, okay? If you're equally blind, that's why I say blinded sometimes. I know they get frustrated at me, I get frustrated at them. If you can't see that that's evidence that Trump is controlled by Putin, it doesn't mean you have to agree with me. It doesn't mean that you have to take that evidence and say that's the only piece of evidence and I'm not going to consider anything else. But it clearly is huge evidence that Trump will do what Putin tells him to do and will say what Putin tells him to say. He just did it, and you saw it with your own eyes. Anyone who's not biased about that issue would say, yes, that's pretty compelling evidence that Trump, in fact, does do whatever Putin tells him to. That's the reality.